Did you know these space facts? Pluto is smaller than the United States. If you were driving at 75 miles per hour, it would take 258 days to drive around Saturn's rings. The spacesuits for the moon landing were made by a lingerie brand. The first ever black hole that was photographed is 3 million times the size of Earth. A day on Pluto is 153 hours long. Any free-moving liquid in outer space will form itself into a sphere. Pens don't work in space because there's no gravity. Astronauts can grow approximately 2 inches in height when in space. You also can't burp in space. A season on Uranus is equal to 21 Earth years. Earth is the only planet not named after a god. If Saturn's rings were 3 feet long, they would be 10,000 times thinner than a razor blade. In China, the Milky Way is known as the Silver River. Jupiter's red spot is shrinking. While it takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun, it only takes 1 second for it to travel from the moon to Earth. Spacesuit helmets have a Velcro patch to help astronauts itch. Soviet probe Luna 15 crashed into the surface of the moon while Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were still on it. From 1975 to 1982, Russia had 6 probes land on the surface of Venus, surviving the temperatures of 855 degrees Fahrenheit and successfully taking photos. The Mariner 1 probe, which was meant to orbit Venus, failed because of a missing hyphen in a line of code, making it the most expensive typo in history. The Galileo space probe was intentionally crashed into Jupiter at the end of its operational life to avoid contaminating Jupiter's moons with bacteria. Russian scientists have observed the differences between cockroaches conceived in space and their terrestrial counterparts. The space-conceived cockroaches grew more quickly and also grew up to be faster and tougher. The minimum number of people needed to populate a space colony with minimum inbreeding would be 160. The average distance between asteroids and the asteroid belts is over 100,000 miles, meaning an asteroid field would be very simple to navigate, which is very different from what you see in the movies. There are approximately 275 million stars that are created every day. What? The light hitting Earth is over 30,000 years old because it takes that long for energy to travel from the sun's core to its surface and then only 8 minutes to reach Earth. There's an asteroid called 2007 FT3 headed for Earth right now that if it were to hit would do so with the equivalent energy of 2.6 billion tons of TNT. But what's more alarming is that this asteroid, although NASA has been tracking it since 2007, recently lost track of it and has a chance of hitting Earth this year on October 5th, 2024. Around 40% of meteors that strike the Earth are said to originate from a single source, the asteroid 6 Hebei in the main belt, discovered on July 1st, 1847. The 9.0 magnitude earthquake that hit Japan in 2011 was so powerful that it shifted the Earth's axis and shortened days by 1.8 microseconds. Every century, the Earth's rotation slows by about 17 milliseconds. When dinosaurs roamed the Earth, days were only about 22 hours long. This massive space cloud, located 26,000 light years from Earth, is made entirely of alcohol, containing enough for 400 trillion pints of beer. Everything on Earth, including Earth itself, is made of stardust. All natural elements except hydrogen and helium are created within stars, meaning the iron in your blood is billions of years old from a star trillions of miles away. Despite their appearance, clouds can weigh around 500,000 kilograms, equivalent to 500 SUVs or 4 blue whales. Our solar system takes 225 million years to rotate around the Milky Way. The last time Earth was in its current position, dinosaurs were just beginning to roam the planet. Cold welding occurs when 2 pieces of metal touch in space and instantly bond due to the vacuum. This does not happen on Earth because our atmosphere puts a layer of oxidized material between the surfaces. Betelgeuse, the 9th brightest star visible in Earth's sky, is a red supergiant in the constellation Orion that could have already gone supernova but is so far away that we wouldn't know it yet. Neil Armstrong's boots are still in space. Neil Armstrong's poop is still on the moon. Neil Armstrong's astronaut application was a week late. A donut-shaped planet is technically possible. Amongst the debris recovered from the 2003 Space Shuttle Columbia disaster were containers holding worms carried as a part of an experiment. The nematode worms were found to have survived. Chinese astronauts have been banned from the International Space Station since 2011. If the Earth were the size of a grain of sand, the sun would be the size of a tennis ball. A spacesuit costs $12 million US. A sunset on Mars is blue. Although Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system, it is the lightest planet. Back when dinosaurs existed, there used to be volcanoes that were erupting on the moon. Stars twinkle because of the way light is disrupted as it passes through Earth's atmosphere. Helios 1 and 2 are the fastest spacecraft relative to the sun that humans have ever built. They're traveling at 252,000 kilometers an hour, and although they are no longer functional, they are still orbiting around the sun. When the Soviets sent the second Sputnik into orbit, there were 2 dogs, 40 mice, 2 rats, and a variety of plants. One of the dogs later had puppies, one of which was sent to the First Lady, Jackie Kennedy. JFK originally did not want to take the dog, fearing that it may be bugged. The first man-made aircraft to successfully land on another planet and send back data was the Soviet Venera 7 in 1970. After landing on Venus, the craft sent back only 23 minutes of weak data, presumably because it landed on its side. When the spacecraft Cassini sent a probe to Saturn's moon Titan, the European Space Agency forgot to turn on a receiver and thus missed half of all of the images. Voyager 1 was launched after Voyager 2, but it moved faster and eventually passed it. Engineers who designed the Voyager mission planned it to avoid planetary encounters over Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's predicted that the golden records, which contain samples of Earth greetings, sounds, and music, attached to the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 probes will remain intact for 1 billion years. There is a giant water vapor cloud in space. It is 12 billion light years away, is 100,000 times larger than the sun, and holds about 140 trillion times more water than all of the Earth's oceans. If Earth was 50% larger in diameter, we would not have been able to venture into space, at least using current rocket technologies due to how the fuel requirements for rockets scale. Earth gets 100 tons heavier every day just due to falling space dust. In 1977, the Big Ear Radio Telescope of Ohio State University picked up a radio signal from space that lasted 72 seconds. To this day, we still don't know where it came from. An 11-year-old girl proposed the name for Pluto after the Roman god of the underworld. The New Horizons spacecraft heading to Pluto carries a Florida state quarter, symbolically to pay Charon, the ferryman, to the realm of the dead. If a car could drive up, it would take an hour to get to space. Gravity Probe B has the most perfect spheres ever created by man. If GPB's gyroscopes were enlarged to the size of the Earth, the tallest mountain would be just 8 feet tall. The Juno spacecraft heading towards Jupiter carries 3 Lego figurines representing Galileo, the Roman god Jupiter, and his wife Juno. Stars are created when cosmic gases collect billions of tons of mass, and gravity causes fusion, releasing energy. There was a planet discovered in 2004 that was covered entirely in burning ice. Its strong gravity compresses the ice, allowing it to withstand the 800-degree temperature on its surface. Atoms are 99.9% empty space. If you removed all the empty space from atoms, the entire human race could fit into the size of a sugar cube. About 1% of the static on your TV is cosmic microwave radiation, a remnant from the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. The center of our universe is theorized to smell like rum and taste like raspberries due to ethyl formate, the chemical responsible for these flavors. We discovered a planet about 40 light years away that is so rich in carbon that it is believed to hold 3 times Earth's mass in diamonds, with a solid diamond core of 10 billion trillion carats. A giant rogue black hole exists called Phoenix A, and it's estimated to be 100 billion times the mass of our sun, comparable to the mass of an entire galaxy. It has the capacity to swallow almost anything. Earth wouldn't even register as a snack to this thing. The crew aboard the space shuttle Columbia was still alive for several minutes during the fatal re-entry attempt in 2003. The crew is fighting to maintain and regain control for more than 7 minutes, despite knowing that realistically their chances of success were pretty much 0. If you want to keep watching more space facts, I have another video. Just click on screen. I made this like 2 months ago. Go ahead.